The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, new outside bar now open on match days.
There's a chance here, a great save, a turner from the clear. Might come, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line, we've got a rather slender show this evening, ladies and gents. First of all, we've got Mr. Fudge. Hey there, Fudge, you've been?
Good evening, my lord. Are you all right?
Absolutely. I've heard you chomping away there, Fudge. What are we having for us tea this evening?
Well, for us tea tonight, I'm having. God, you can tell it's an international break show already, can't you? I'm having some nachos, cheese, and some lovely salsa. Now, just a bit of a tip: if you do go with the red hot Nando sauce, or any other sauces are available, mix it with mayos, stick your nachos or your chips in it. It's banging. Good stuff. Enjoy that. You're welcome.
Mr. Chef Dan Fudge, and of course in the background too we have Mr. Davies. How are you, Richie, old boy?
I'm really well, my lord. How are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic.
Just struggling at this week with just a lack of football because international football is no interest anymore. Let's be honest.
It is a bit rubbish, isn't it?
Why don't we do that debate now? Let's do it. Just to give yourself something to talk about. To be fair, so Wayne Rooney. Let's do at least 2 minutes on Wayne Rooney now. What are you saying? Dropped or not?
Yes.
No.
Well, there you are. There's England exclusive. I tell you, for me, all this Wayne Rooney nonsense about him playing in the middle of the park, rubbish. You know.
Yeah, I mean.
Sorry, bit of windy pops here.
Bloody natural.
It got a little burp there, wasn't there?
It's a weird one because it's the last of that what they term the golden generation that never actually did anything particularly golden, did they? And it's a bit of a cling back to that particular sort of hope that we all had. But to be honest, he's not the player he was. But if you look at the stats when he plays and when he doesn't, we score goals when he's on the pitch. It's very much like the Newell situation, isn't it? It's very much the Big Dave situation. Is that when he's on the pitch, we score goals.
Did you just compare him to Newell there? Oh. Rooney and Newell?
Rooney. Yeah, I love that. I love that strenuous link. No, but I tell you what it is, you don't become England's all-time top scorer by playing in the middle of the park. It's absolutely bloody rubbish. I remember him back in it was 2004 when he played Croatia in the I think it was the Euros then, wasn't it? And he was smashing defenders in the nose. He was kicking this guy. I miss him being a proper, Scouser. Do you know what I mean?
But that was a long time ago now, Pudge, boy. He's not the same chap, is he?
I still cling on to the 90s. That's still new for me, that.
I know the feeling all too well. So yes, if you'd like to send us your views on England, send them to
send them to the bin. We're not bothered. Get them in the sea.
International football's rubbish these days. Gareth Southgate, how vanilla is he? He's more vanilla than Stuart Vanilla, bless him. Right, so let's crack on with the scant bit of Wednesday news that we have for this evening. First thing is first, Mr. Carlos has been nominated for the Manager of the Month award. Of course, he got nominated about 4 hours after we finished the last show. Thanks for that nomination, people. And a lot of people were rather surprised about this nomination, weren't they, chaps?
Yeah, well, I don't think any of us really, because while we've not been on photo, we've talked about this loads of times about we've not kind of been on kind of the form we all kind of expected, wanted, whatever. So we all kind of didn't expect it to come along, and when it has come along, we're like, oh, okay, fair enough. But then you look back at the month, we lost one during September, and won the rest.
I think it's a lot of it's to do with the manner in which we won as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? So, like, had we been tonking teams left, right, and Skegness, like, bash, 3-0, see you later, bash, 4-0, it'd have been fine. But bear in mind, I think 3 of those fixes have had to come from behind on and get late goals from Super Kieran Lee. So, it might have robbed somebody blind there.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, he didn't win it after all that and after all the excitement. And again, Carlos has made it perfectly clear in the past that he really doesn't give a chuff about this kind of thing, does he? When they interviewed him about it, he said, well, it's not just me, it's the management team and the players and etc. And he was being very lovely and gentlemanly about the whole thing. Well, I'm sorry if it'd been me. I'd have been swinging me bits and bobs all over, saying, "Check me out." I am proper spiffy.
There's a picture.
Innit? If we get this podcast award, are you going to stand there just with your Gash and Gary out with whatever gong we get just in front of your bits going? I'm just chuffing on this, my lord. You know?
Absolutely. And the music playing in the background will be "I Can Leave My Top Hat On." It'll be marvellous. Boys and girls.
Let's go back to Manager a Month. You know, I know, everybody knows. It's an absolute kiss of death. It's a right Jonah. Everybody knows it is. There are two things in football that you don't want. You do not want the Manager a Month award because the form after that is pish. And you don't want a football-focused special. You don't want Clem coming down on a Saturday morning talking to everybody, going, "I'm Clem, I'm from BBC," and everybody seems to know him. You don't want that because what happens is that afternoon you get your backside handed to you. Everybody knows that. I thought that was a thing.
And I think that's probably why one of Carlos's tactics for trying to play it down a bit is so if he did win it, which would have been lovely, of course, or not, as the case may be, then maybe it wouldn't have got people a little bit overexcited. Because one of the things that Carlos sort of has repeated again and again and again and again is that he wants to keep people's feet on the floor, which is one of my favourite Carlos phrases. And things like this, feet, exactly, bless him. Things like this tend to take people's feet off the floor, don't they? Which is why he's never too jovial when players win these things. I mean, how many did Fessy win last year? Like a bajillion of them, something like that.
I think it was a bajillion and 4.
It was there or thereabouts, absolutely. Maybe we saw Fessy's feet get lifted off the floor at the beginning of this season due to all the acclaim that he had, and maybe that's what Carlos has been trying to avoid. And fair play to him for it. Of course, we don't know the players as well as Carlos does, but cracking chap. Another thing, recent actually, Carlos has just took a little tweet out tonight regarding his father. Have you chaps seen this?
Yeah. I have, yeah. He's won a thing.
Absolutely, he's won a thing. And Carlos, obviously, he wasn't really that bothered because he was trying to keep his father's feet on the floor. Feet on the floor,
yeah. You've completely ruined about 10 minutes of banter I had ready on that kind of fill this show up there.
You know, Carlos's father, I assume he calls him Old Carlos, has his father. My father's won something from government about when he were in army in India, which is brilliant for him, which is fantastic. So congratulations to the Carlos, not the Carlos clan, the Carvalhal clan. Right then, so yes, well done Carlos. Hard cheese not getting it, but all our feet are still on the floor. Can you tell we're struggling for content tonight?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do the 10 times tables tonight. It's a new feature. It's called filling time during the international break. Now, I tell you what. Speaking of the international break, normally we go into these things on absolute barnstorming form, especially the last couple of seasons. And then when there has been international break, we always come out rubbish, or it just kind of halts our progress, as it were. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well documented, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you can just go to the BBC website and look at results. But like, it's I've always been interested in Carlos's attitude towards international breaks, and he seems to enjoy them. And especially I think it was this time last year, or maybe the international break towards the early part of the year, where he was saying, I quite like them because essentially he was saying, because I work them like a dog, it's nice for them to have a rest. Do you know what I mean? And I quite enjoyed that. But so I'm thinking, we've got a couple of games coming up. Do you reckon they'll come out the traps, or do you reckon we'll lose our momentum somewhat? Well, that was an actual football question, by the way. I don't know if anybody got that.
That's no fun. We don't do football international break.
Thrown you all there, haven't I?
No, I think it's one of those things. Just like us guys, obviously we all pop off. Well, you guys go to work, I go loading, and every so often it's nice to have a little break from the loading. So I should imagine that the players essentially look forward to the break. Obviously, we've had players popping here, there, and everywhere playing during the international break, but it's got to be nice to have a little change every now and again, hasn't it? I mean, surely you guys look forward to your little Skyby breaks. I know you have one every single day there, Fudge, and do very little work indeed. But this is their equivalent.
You're only jealous.
Yeah, I certainly am. This is their equivalent to skiving off doing the podcasts while they're supposed to be at work, isn't it, essentially?
Well, I've got a table of 5 in right now, and but the problem is, who walks into a restaurant at 9 o'clock? You know, I'd already cashed up. There was no bugger in. It's Wednesday night. I'm on the seaside. It's cold, and 5 Spaniards have come, and it's always a Spanish because they're used to having a siesta and think, I can eat a bloody 9 o'clock, innit? All of a sudden, they have Italian accents.
Spanish or Greek?
Yeah, in you got a bloody, give them the bloody steaks here. What's the matter?
Stavros in there.
But yes, it does seem there has been quite a bit it's weird at the moment, being a Wednesday night, isn't it? Because yes, we did have a crack in September. We lost 1 game to a late goal to Birmingham, but it does feel like we've been overworked. To me, it feels quite a bit of pressure being a Wednesday night at the moment, and there's a lot of angry Wednesday nights out there. And to a point, I can understand why. But it might give us also a bit of time to reflect, look at September, because I was surprised when I looked at September and saw all the green that we'd won stuff, and it might do us all good to have a little bit of a, oh yeah, we started a bit crappy, but we're doing all right now, aren't we?
You know what? We've always been impatient Wednesday fans, always. I suppose as I get a little bit older, as I get into my 30s, I start to.
We all know you've got socks that aren't in the 30s anymore.
I was going to say, Rich, you've got knickers just in the 30s, don't you? Don't bring your ears up.
Not mine either. Anyway, I've lost my track completely. So
to be fair, I don't think we started with a track this evening, did we? But no, it's the international break that comes and goes, and it can be a kiss of death for teams because, as Fudge said, I mean, there's times where we've been flying into an international break and come back out tosh, and vice versa. There's been times we've been doing tosh and come back flying. So it's really a difficult one, and I suppose this is really where sort of Carlos and the management team, their skills come in and make sure the players are up for it. And to be honest, I can't see why the players wouldn't be, because they've not had all the accolades that they did last season, have they? And that's something we'll come on to a little bit later on as well. But they've got to be missing that brilliant feeling that we had last season. I certainly am. I really am, because looking at the social medias and Twitters and things, there's the moans starting to creep back in again, and I'm really missing that sort of togetherness, we're on his way and all that we had at the back end of last season, and I want it back, and I'm sure the players do as well.
I'll tell you what it is, Lord H. I read a beautiful article on it today, actually, from I think it was a tweet, actually, and it said it's like it was talking about a new relationship, and that's exactly what Sheffield Wednesday's like now. So a new relationship, you start texting, or you start looking forward to the calls, and you're always wondering what they're up to, you know what I mean, and you can't wait, and then you're like, oh, this is amazing, it's the best feeling ever. And then after a couple of months, you know, you're trying to crimp off a length of dirty spine, and she's brushing her teeth still next to you. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking, what the bloody hell happened here? How did this happen? How did this fall apart like it did? And that's the cycle of relationships, and you have to make a conscious choice to go, this is the person for me. And it's exactly the same with our relationship with our football club. Did you see what I did there? It started out lovely, and now we're just a bit used to it. And, you know, Carlos isn't new and shiny anymore. Carlos's football's not new and shiny anymore. So let's go back to what we always did, and let's start standing next to him, brushing his teeth while he's trying to crimp one off.
Is this some kind of a confession that you're going to make to the police later, Fudge? Have you broken into Carlos's and just relieved
I think how Vic describes it is she shaves her leg on her first day, and as they get hairier as it goes on. So Alistair, I feel really sorry for him in a minute.
I tell you what, Rich, I used to go out with a girl that used to shave her legs during boot wearing season, just down to boot level. So she had like shins and ankles. Look,
one pair of socks, almost.
Yeah, it did. Look like she had furry bloody socks on.
You remember the Ultimate Warrior from back in the old days? Had those lovely little tassels round his knees.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Ultimate Warrior's tassels.
I could probably go one better, but probably. I'll tell you when we stop recording later.
Oh, you tease.
Ooh.
I think I've already told you the story off air anyway as well, but there we go.
Listen out for the outtakes, ladies and gents.
Here's a question. Where would you find all of the following in one place? Chairs, tables, beer, Vic, James, more beer, Dick Yow, Eddie, more beer, and the rest of the Wednesday Week gang. That's right, it's the Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. All of your favourite lagers, ciders, soft drinks and hand pump ales are now available outside. Come and see the gang and give it a try. The Riverside Cafe's new outside bar, now open on match days.
Right, though, so yes, obviously Wednesday News has been at a premium this week, boys and girls. We have had, obviously, Mr. Bannon and Fletcher out there playing for Scotland as well, which they had a lovely time last time, but they've not had a great time this time, have they?
They did not. They got absolutely bloody battered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Fletcher was lucky not to be injured at some point as well, if I remember rightly, but I think I watched it, but I was really drunk.
To be fair,
so
I didn't even watch it, and I've read some reports and bits and bobs like that on it. Obviously, there were certain Scottish people moaning at Strachan for not starting Fletcher, essentially, which, I mean, that's great if that's what people are thinking about him up there, because it can only do his confidence good when he does pop back down and snuggle back into the bosom of the Wednesdays, can't he? But yeah, it's just I'm always from a player's point of view, it's got to be a massive honour to be asked to play for your country. But if all the mates are off having a rest for a week and they're off doing what they're doing, yeah, do you think that maybe they feel a bit about it all? I mean, we saw the video as well of Fletch and Bannon playing FIFA, and they sounded like they're having a lovely time. Unfortunately, lovely. I didn't understand a lot of it because it didn't have subtitles, and my translation of Scottish is terrible. It really is.
Well, I tell you what, I tell you what it is, Lord Hillsborough. I've been trying to learn Scottish, and it's a mix. It's a mixture of English and alcohol. So. Lee Peacock's birthday on Saturday, I was so Scottish, I was almost, well, Lee Peacock himself. You know what I mean? and luckily enough, by the way, on that Saturday, he didn't take a jacket out with him, so I can just carry on drinking.
Does he go English down when he's pissed? Is it work the opposite round?
Yeah. He becomes really well spoken.
Hello there, fuzzy old boy. How the devil are you? Drink your own passion.
Sorry, what we're talking about? I've completely Scotland. Right, yeah.
Yes.
The Scotch, they got beat 3-0. England are top of the group. Are we top of the group? Yeah, we're top of the group. We've got them to play. Gareth Southgate's meek. Wayne Rooney might not get dropped anymore because all of a sudden we'll have somebody else to pick on. Probably Gary Cahill's turn, actually. We're going to turn on him soon. Joe Hart's mint again because everybody's decided he is because we need somebody else to pick on. Yeah. It'll be Gary Cahill and Kane to pick on next time. So look forward to that, kids.
What about San Marino though? First away World Cup qualified goal in 15 years. That must be one hell of a celebration when that went in.
And did you see the tweet from San Marino's Twitter feed?
I don't think it was San Marino's. I think it was a fan one, was it? They said to get the F in there or something like that. But my favourite tweets from last night were the Norwegian commentators. After San Marino goal went in, and they're actually they're in a studio, aren't they? In like a football studio, talking about football, and they're throwing their microphones around, they're swearing at the screen. Beautiful.
Right, so the last little bit of really scant Wednesday news we've got for this evening that came out this week. Former Wednesday player, obviously from a while ago now, Tony Kay. I'm sure you've all seen him knocking about on Twitter as well. Cracking chap. Bearing in mind he's 79 now, and he puts out some brilliant tweets as well. So if you're not following him on Twitter, have a little look. There was a little thing in the paper about bet they regretted that, and it was sort of footballers from recent years that have had certain fines and things for betting on matches and bits and bobs and the other. Now, for those that aren't aware, Mr. K did have a bit of trouble with this himself. When I say a bit of trouble, quite simply, he ended up getting jailed for it. He got a £150 fine, which obviously
Jesus!
Way back then. He got jailed for 4 months and banned from playing football for life. That was essentially the end of his career whilst he was playing Wednesdays. He bet on a Wednesday game whilst he was playing. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that wasn't right, but Tony Kay, nobody can argue, was an absolutely fantastic player back in his day. Obviously, I never actually saw him play. I've seen the videos. He played for England. A massive Everton player as well, to be fair. And a lot of the things that he pops out are from sort of his Everton career as well. But looking at the comparison with £150 fine, obviously back then, a lot more money, 4 months in jail, and then banned for playing football for life with, for instance, Andros Townsend, May 2013, 4 month ban, 3 matches suspended, and an 18 grand fine. But now earning gajillions of pounds still playing football. Mr. K popped a tweet out there saying that to say I'm fuming is an understatement, which you can understand, can't you?
You want to go look at Joey Barton in a minute. Obviously, he's been betting on games left, right, and centre, at least once every game he's played in, or whatever he's alleged to have done. And they're having a complaint about him today. But then obviously this guy Tony K got put away for 4 months, which he just doesn't seem.
But this is the thing. I mean, I can. It's a difficult one because again, I would never ever speak badly of a Wednesday player apart from the really really crappy ones. And it's difficult because yes, it was incredibly harsh. But would you like to see those sorts of fines to players now? Because betting is a big thing. And personally, I'm not a fan. I know there's a lot of people about there. I've never been a betting chap. I'm, to be perfectly honest, rubbish at it. So I wouldn't even try. But if you've got players betting on their own matches that they're playing in, surely they should have, again, jail sentences, ban them from football, and it'd stop.
I don't know. It's a bit grey area, isn't it? Because let's say Joey Barton, for example, was betting on himself to score. You know what I mean? To score, or his team to win. He can't really influence that. Do you know what I mean? If he's betting on his team to lose and him not to score, then that's not cool. You know what I mean?
On goals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Or first corner. What minute? Bah, see you later. But there's that sort of thing. So it's a bit of a grey area. I mean, me personally, I think if you're playing the sport, there should be a blanket ban on it. That it's easy to set up a Sky Bet account with an email address and a bank account, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So how do you police it? How would you be able to enforce a blanket ban on betting, or even, for example, what if Joey Barton wanted to put £10 on Manchester United versus Liverpool? What, is he not allowed to do it because he plays the sport? Yeah. You know what I mean? There are so many different variables you can do whilst having a bet. How do you police it? Well, I mean, obviously, you should use your bloody mind.
Personally, I think if you play in a sport, you should not be able to bet on that sport.
Yeah. That's what the rules are, isn't it? That's what the rules are. If you're going into it eyes wide open, it's not something that they're just chucking at you. When you go in, you're not allowed to bet on any kind of football as a footballer. So
what? None at all.
Apparently not.
No, nor should you be able to.
Well, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? You've got Joey Barton there playing for Rangers, or having had played for Rangers, because that's still up in the air at the minute, isn't it? Yeah. You've got Joey Barton there playing football in Scotland. So what? He's not allowed to have a cheeky tipple on Eastleigh versus Dover.
Yeah, but how many of those players that play for Eastleigh versus Dover does he know? Yeah. The industry is the industry, and obviously from just looking at Wednesdays for the last few years, obviously connections down at Eastleigh with Peaks and Reader, etc. When we had Reader on, and we mentioned that we're still in contact with.
Getting on at Jacques Magoma. He didn't like it, did he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jacques Magoma.
Exactly. So obviously when Reader comes on and he's telling us off because and fair play to him. I mean, this just shows that once they've left a football club, they don't just stop speaking to each other, and the mates, the pals, the chums. And it would be easy to have a little chat with your chum if you're betting on a match, even if they're in a completely different country. Except I'm not saying that does happen, of course, but it is possible that it could, which is personally why I think that it shouldn't happen. If you play football, you're not allowed to bet on football.
Orlando Trustful. Thanks, Inter Milan.
Very much, Rich. That would have drove me absolutely
no problem.
Evening.
Did we talk about that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
But if you've got obviously Mr. Trustful over there doing his managerial things, and he's whispering players' ears because he used to know a Wednesday player back from 10 years ago, it just goes to show how it's all linked in. And I'm not saying that our wonderful players would do things like that. Even the Mr. K situation, the actual match that he was accused of betting on, just goes to show, again, proving Fudge's point really. Wednesday did lose, but Tony K was named man of the match for that game by the Sunday People newspaper, which later exposed him for the actual, for the want of a better term, scandal in the first place there. So I'm not trying to say that Mr. K in any way, shape or form tried to fix that match. It was a ridiculous, silly mistake. Cracking player. He'd only made his England debut a couple of blinking weeks before it, and they'd thrashed I think it was Sweden or Switzerland or somebody, 8-1 or something ridiculous like that. And it just, from one point of view, it seems like such a waste of a career because of betting, from what could have been an absolute England legend, and I don't know. It just seems ridiculous. And fair play to Mr. Cliff for being wazzed off about it.
Yeah, but I mean, by that virtue of the fact of people knowing people, you know what I mean? Let's look at a Gillette advert. You had Roger Federer, you had Thierry Henry, and you had Tiger Woods.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Listen, Tiger, do you mind going 1 over par for this next one? I've got 2 million on it down at Paddy Power. Do you know what I mean? It could happen.
Absolutely.
It could happen. So there needs to be some stringent rules on it. You know what I mean? Because there's so many grey areas and so many things you can bet on. Because I think it was Paul Kitson back in the day that got embroiled up in a betting scam, and they did a kickoff. And as soon as the kickoff, Kitson tried to loft one down the left-hand side, ended up shanking it, and it went straight out for a play, straight out for throwing. And they showed that clip on They Think It's All Over. And Nick Hancock said, "Listen, we're not trying to embroil Paul Kitson in a betting scam. It's not that Paul Kitson is trying to fix games. It's that Paul Kitson is shite." And I thought, well, that's just cleared that up well, hasn't it? You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. I mean, to stop the speculation and to stop all this nonsense, players don't care about fines now, do they? They are multi-gajillionaires. They've got money pouring out their ears. So it's not a problem for them to get fined or be fined a couple of weeks' wages or a month's wages. They've got so many fingers in so many pies these days. It's not going to make a difference. But if you said, like obviously back in Mr. K's day, right, if you found betting on football matches, A, you're going to get fined, B, you're going to get banned for football from live so you can't earn any more money, and C, we're going to chuck them the clink for 4 months, surely it'd just stop. Just like that feature did.
Yeah, put the advert in there.
Now, of course, it has been the essentially a quarter of the way through the season now, and although we're still not allowed to look at the table, and we had a little bit of a discussion about all this last week as well, but we've also popped it out to you guys to have a little chat about, first of all, best match. So, Fudgy or Bean, what would you say the best match has been from a Wednesday point of view this season? I know it's few and far between to choose from at the moment, but anything that's particularly tickled your fancy, old boy?
Bristol City. I don't know why. I was annoyed that we'd gone 2-0 down at half time. But Bristol City, and it was the euphoria on the players' faces when we won, and everything that was to do with Forestieri and everything that had happened with him, and all the accusations of tearing apart the team and the atmosphere, all that was forgotten in a moment. And you know, one of my best mates is a Bristol City fan as well, so soz about that. Yeah. Well.
I have to agree with Fudge. In Bristol City game, I do love an injury time goal. It's a hell of a nightmare getting to that point sometimes. You know, when you're either losing or whatever, and you come back to draw. But the actual euphoria of an injury time goal, especially when it's a winner like it was against Bristol City, is absolutely fantastic. Lots of random hugging goes off and jumping all over the place. Can't get any better than that, can it?
No, I absolutely agree, and I think it's very hard to disagree with that as well. We did have a couple of listeners get in touch as well when we stuck that question out. Crampy over there at on Twitter, obviously you mentioned Bristol as well. We also had a Facebook chap as well. Kieran Wilcox say exactly the same sort of thing. Best game has to be the Bristol City game, and obviously Kieran Lee's last-minute winner. The only one person that didn't not so much agree, but had a different opinion, so I would say. Some joker called Alistair that apparently is fiddling with Victoria at the moment.
Right now, right this very second.
Well, that's why she's not on here.
I've got the webcam up. But no, Alistair, of course, massive friend of the show. Hi there, Alistair Allpoint. He mentioned, and fair play to him, that after the Wigan game, obviously after Fessigate and everything, and Fessy scoring that goal, and just the absolute explosion that we all had Fessy back under our, again, I'm going to say it, bosom again. And again, it's pretty hard to disagree with, but I don't think it quite had the for the Bristol game, because that really set us off for the season, didn't it? It really, really did. Next thing we tweeted out there was, and this one has been a little bit more difficult to choose, a player of the season so far. Richie.
Kieran Lee, innit? Kieran Lee all day long.
Without a shadow. I'd love to say somebody else to play devil's advocate, but I'm a little gay for him. So
I was talking at the beginning of the season like that. He was the one of all these quandaries I've had about our midfield and still have. He was one of the ones that I thought, oh, Lee, drop Lee and play Abdi, but you can't drop Kieran Lee at the minute. It's first man on the team sheet, surely. Yeah,
I mean,
and you don't have to call me Shirley either.
To play devil's advocate, obviously we have had some quite a few people mention Fletcher as well. We had first chap in Kieran Keefe over there on Twitter, also Dale Purdy, friend of the show over there, also saying Fletcher as well. There's been a few shouts for Fletcher straight out of Sheffield. Talk Sheffield over there on Twitter as well. Again, all saying Fletcher. Far more people on the social medias mentioning Fletcher than mentioning Lee, which...
Well, they're wrong. No, I'll admit it. Fletcher's been a great acquisition. I was actually excited when we signed him. I thought, Christ, this is a statement of intent. This is us moving forward. This is the same feeling as when we actually made a proper signing when we got Jeremy Halan. You know what I mean? When we're like, wow, look at us now, eh? Do you remember when we signed him? We were like really excited about it because it was a proper actual signing.
Really, he's come from Man City and everything.
But yeah, I think Fletcher's a hell of a signing, and I think he's been great. However, I don't believe he's kind of come a year too late. You know what I mean? If he was here last year, I'd be going, oh, I love him. He's great. Like, he's fantastic. But because we haven't hit the form that we're capable of with this team that we had with last season's team, I kind of think, well, you're doing all right, but we were better last year, so but then again, were we better last year? Because we had a shit start last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we had the same not fantastic start, but what really sort of interested me about this, if we'd have had this question sort of even in the sort of back end of last season, we'd have been speaking about Fessy, we'd have been speaking about Bannon. One person did mention Bannon as well. To me, he's looked a little bit tired, which I can understand. Bless him, he's been last sort of flogged, and he's not put a foot wrong. Don't get me wrong, he's been brilliant as usual. But it's so odd how this thing sort of shifts from last season, from these superstar players that we just couldn't get enough of last season, that it's now moved on to Fletcher. So are we waiting for Fessy to hit his form? Are we waiting for Bannon to fully give us all he's got, or are we just now going to sort of pin our hopes on Kieran Lee and Fletcher?
Yeah, we're going to go 1-0 down, and we're going to just lose, and then we're going to score a 93rd minute. It's fine.
Kieran Lee, yeah.
That's it, Carlos. You don't need to do tactics for this week. We've got it sorted for you.
Because this isn't the first time this has happened, is it? Us coming from behind and being mint at it.
No.
Is that not the first time you've come from behind? Is that right? Yeah.
Listen, I used to work at Butlins. Coming from behind was rife.
Oh, who on earth would make that terrible joke? Me on Twitter.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 014 232 6121.
So the last little sort of reoccurring feature, don't worry Rich, we're not going to do a where are they now, don't put that kind of pressure.
Forget that.
It's a new feature called What Are They Up To Nowadays? It's a completely all new feature.
I wish I'd thought of that, damn.
So on this day, on the 13th of October 1995, the Owls agreed to sell their unsettled Romanian Dan Petrescu to Chelsea.
Dan Petrescu.
Absolutely.
Yes, my mate John Dooley had his name put on the back of his shirt, costing a fortune. Sorry, Dools.
Off he popped to Chelsea for 2.6 million, exactly double the amount that Wednesday played for the Italian club Genoa in '94. So I didn't realise he doubled his money. Well, I don't know, we're good.
Dan Pet Rescue, yeah.
Dan Pet
Rescue. And also as well, that's exactly the same amount of money we sold Emerson Tome to Chelsea for as well. So when it comes to signing defenders to Chelsea, they just pay 2.6 million. That's what they do.
The other thing that oddly happened on the Monday the 30th, and I'm going to read this word for word out of the book I'm reading it from. Most of the spectators in the 1,600 crowd were unsure of the final score as Wednesday beat Grimsby Town 9-3 at Bundcart in a testimonial match for Kevin Moore. Denise Frog. Honestly, I'm so tired. I don't even tell you what it says now.
I've just realised, were you trying to say Dennis then?
No, I was trying to say dense fog, and it came out as dense fog.
Denise Frog. She's the physio. The female physio.
I was going to say, I know it's a testimonial, but I didn't know they let, Foggy's mum strap her boots up. Oh.
I apologise. Oh, Jesus. King Denise Frog.
Denise Frog.
Right, let me try that again. What I meant to say, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologise for my not being able to read, is dense fog.
Dennis Fogg.
I know his sister.
The twins they are.
Yeah. Denise.
Compose yourself. Compose yourself. Anyway, it was foggy that day, and the pitch route. I think foggy people don't say a right lot. Right, so that's the end of that feature, probably.
My favourite bit of that entire feature was you at the start of that goal. And I'm going to read this word for word. How'd that pan out for you?
Right then, ladies and gents, so let's crack on then, shall we? Now, we've got 2 games to preview, and the first one we've got is Huddersfield, who, oh, crikey, it pays me to say it, but they're in bloody well at the moment, aren't they?
Top of the league, and we're going to play them away. So our first game back after the international break, it's not on paper, isn't an easy one.
I hope it absolutely kills them dead, this international break. Who the bloody hell are Huddersfield Town? We've sat here, we've had a tear up with Brighton, there was Derby County in the mix, bloody, who went up? Hull City, they were there, and then all of a sudden coming down, we've got Norwich, Villa, Newcastle. There's like 9 teams can get promoted out of this league, and here come bloody Huddersfield, little only bloody Huddersfield, coming and invading the party. No, get in the bin. Get so far in the bin, then get in the sea. In fact, get in the bin, roll down a hill into the sea like they used to on Last of the Summer Wine. Bloody Huddersfield. How dare they come in and join the party? Yes, there's a great, they've had a good start, but they've got to dwindle off. I mean, we did it in 1996. We were top for weeks, weren't we? And then we dwindled off, but we still finished 7th. And how dare we finish 7th? We're invading the party as well. It was 20 years ago, Dan. Get over it.
Well, this is the thing for Jobby. Are your Huddersfield prejudices from 20 years ago? Because it has to be said, Huddersfield have been building a brilliant team. The new manager they've got in there, this sort of, again, as James explained from Carlos Mark II, if you like, on there, has been playing some great football. Even Mr. Lee was in the paper just the other day mentioning that he's seen this Huddersfield team building for a while, and he's not surprised at all about the cracking season they've had. So are we going to have one of those problems where we do think, oh, poor old little Huddersfield, what are you doing up here? And then they spank us 10-0.
But do we really think they're going to be there at the end of the season in that place? No, I don't either.
Well, that's what everybody said about Leicester.
Feature done.
Yeah, feature done.
Feature done.
Let's move on to where they're now.
Move on.
No, I don't think they're going to do that by the end of the season, but I do think it's going to be a tough fought-out game. I'm hoping that we get the better Sheffield Wednesday off the back of an international break. The ones where they're refreshed, the ones where they've had a minute, the one where they've managed to sit down, work out who's playing where and what the tactics actually are, because we're buggered if we know. You know what I mean? Now, I hope we get that Sheffield Wednesday that turn up, or it's going to go one of two ways. We get that one that give them a good game, or we're going to get the Sheffield Wednesday that turned up at Burton and got his asses handed to us.
I don't want to be disrespectful to Huddersfield, because that's when we are going to get a right good stonking from them, aren't we? But, as Fudge said, it's essentially it's in our own hands, and it's which team shows up on the day. Of course, the other team that we have to face as well are Cardiff, who aren't doing quite as well as Huddersfield. And on the flip side of that coin, there is that danger that Wednesdays have always sort of come out and played well against good teams, and then teams towards the bottom of the table, we just sort of, we'll beat these, and then again get spanked, isn't it?
And teams that have just employed Neil Warnock.
And teams that have just employed our wonderful nemesis, Mr. Neil Warnock. And that's the first time I've said it that way for a long time. Good old Colin. But again, obviously, there is the Warnock effect when he goes to football clubs, isn't he? Where he's got this pact with the devil that'll drag him out, and of course, because it's us that they're playing, am I being a bit superstitious here?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. Cardiff are pish. They're having a terrible time of it. They didn't build on their success going to the Premier League. They took a punt on Solskjaer, and it's never worked for them since after. And then you've got Neil Warnock there, who's gone in, and he knows what Sheffield Wednesday's like. He knows who we are, and we should know he wants to beat us. So he's going to park the bus and try and stink one on a set piece, and that's what's going to happen.
And he knows how to wind us up, and he'll do exactly that before the game, without a doubt.
Oh, of course, yeah. There'll be a lot of back and forth. There'll be a Daily Mail piece, and the people who get wound up by Neil Warnock probably read the Daily Mail or the Star.
Daily Star, is that the Sheffield Star or Daily Star?
Which is the one without Dom Howson?
The Daily Star.
Both of them.
Yeah, I don't read either.
He's on holiday. But I mean, Warnock and these wind-up tactics he's got. I mean, we've all seen them before, and I must admit, he gets me right going. That chap doesn't, and fair play to him for doing it. But we've seen what happened when Mr. Evans tried to do that with Carlos. And we've all seen that wonderful video of Carlos looking at Mr. Evans like he's something he just wiped off the bottom of his shoe because he's storming around the pitch and doing all these nonsense Evans things.
I think most of us looked at him like that, to be fair, not just Carlos. You know?
Yeah, but again, there is the element of Wednesday fans, and I have been guilty of this before as well, where when I do see that behaviour from a manager, I fall for it, and I will scream and shout and say, "You absolute booby," and words to that effect.
I thought you were older and wiser.
Yeah, well, it's different once you get into the match, isn't it? And when you see it and it's happening and it's picking on our poor little players, but then you look at Carlos and you think, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's got that just calm, beautiful Portuguese sensibility about him, where he doesn't need to scream and shout at other managers or other people's players. He'll scream and shout at ours, and fair play to him for it. He'll scream and shout at the ref, and fair play to him for it. But when he just makes that little look at the opposite's manager, should I say, it's just amazing. So I think Carlos has got his own little tactics to deal with Colin, and I think Colin's going to be mightily surprised when he bumps up against it as well. Right, then, ladies and gents, we have got some rather exciting news, haven't we, Richard?
We have no news. We don't know. We've got no news. There's no news to talk about.
We're scraping the barrel this evening.
We've got some rather exciting podcast and the Cop End joint Christmas party news, haven't we, Richie? Oh, boy.
Yes, apparently so. Yeah, we're Vic. I think something Vic's been working on with Cleggy, and yeah, we're having a party at the Riverside Cafe.
Vic and Cleggy sitting in a tree.
Yeah, we found out his real first name this week, and it's a proper brilliant first name. Hey, that's all I can say on that one. And yeah, 17th of December. Put it in your diaries.
Absolutely.
7/11/30.
So essentially, straight after the Rotherham game, once we've battered Rotherham and we're on a wonderful, wonderful mood, we're all heading to the Riverside for a private party, ladies and gents. And it's not just to sort of have a chat and say hello and basically get to meet some of you guys that listen week in, week out. And we know you're out there, even though you don't always contact us when you're supposed to have done. Then come and say hello. We're actually doing this for charity as well. All proceeds from the evening are going to the Sheffield Wednesday Community Fund as well, which I'm sure we've all seen the good work of over there. there on Twitter. Tickets are on sale over there. Right, they're only £5, and I think there's a 70p booking fee or something there or thereabouts. But all that money is going towards a charity on there. So please do come and say hello. Obviously, we've all got some Cop End Facebook group listeners over there as well, so it'd be nice to get involved with those guys. And of course, everybody loves Cleggy, don't they? We've been on the show before, cracking chap, and come and say hello and see Mr. Dickie Owl waving his bits about once he's got his award and his hat on still. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, depends how many beers I have. To be honest, I won't be going home. I'm going straight from the match to the Riverside. So by the time everybody gets there at 7, I'll be well oiled anyway.
Absolutely.
And waving my bits around.
When are you never not well oiled, Richie, old boy? He's got the...
That's a different story.
Right then, ladies and gents, that's going to wrap us up for this week's show. Mr. Davies, old bean, if people want to find you over there on the social medias, where can we do that, old boy?
You can find me at Dickie Owl on Twitter, and I'll be rather quiet this weekend because I'm going out with Denise Frog.
Got it.
We've all been out with Denise Frog, old boy. Fudgy, old boy, if people want to find you over there on the Twitter, where can we do that?
I'm at Dan Fudge on Twitter. If anybody wants to get hold of me, if you're in the south though, I'll have my head down the toilet for the next week because I'll tell you what, this weather turnout, I'm not very well as a result. Oh. But also, I'll tell you what, don't forget, you've got the other guys as well. You've got Victoria 1867. You've got at James Marriott. 2 R's, 2 T's. Is that how he says it? I can't remember. And then you've got Eddie on at Sausage Arms as well. And I love the way that you say your 0. Go on, do it, Lord H. I love it. L0. Go on.
You can get hold of me on the Twitter page at Lord H. That's L0RD_H.
Hey!
You can, of course, get all the podcasts as well at TWWcast. We are in all our usual places as well. A Facebook over there. If you would like to see information about the TWW and the Cop End Christmas Party, pop over to Facebook. We've got all those details, and of course, pop over to the Cop End Facebook page as well. You'll see all the details on there too. We are in all the usual places on YouTube, etc., etc. iTunes is blowing up again. One thing I have noticed there, chaps, as well, is we do have a new podcast wars contender as well.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
The Facebook charts that the Sheffield Star do, they've also started popping on iTunes. So please, ladies and gents, do go over and download that because it'll make you realise.
It'll make them think that this show's a lot better.
It'll make you realise how good we really are.
I got. Isn't there a thing that across Twitter, I've seen it happen every time they try and print something slightly negative about Sheffield Wednesday. I've noticed that our fans go stupid about it, where they go, typical bloody Star printing something negative about Wednesdays. Is that a thing? Does that actually happen? Is that a thing?
I have been known on occasion to make my opinion known about not great language when the Star comes to it, but me and the Star are perfectly lovely friends now. Obviously, friend of the show, Chris Holt, cracking chap. Also, to be fair to him, he had a wonderful chat with Big Ron the other day as well. So if you would like to catch up on that as well, again, pop to the Star Twitter feed, or I'm sure they've probably got a Facebook page as well. Have a little look through there, and it's a lovely chat with Ron. So top job, Chris. But there are certain times that the Star have put some negative language out where negative language didn't need to be, if we were to say. So, but again, that was a long time ago, and we're all friends again now.
It wasn't a long time ago. It was that one where there was that young kid. Do you remember that one? That's where I noticed it. Do you remember there was that young kid who'd signed a contract with Wednesday? Yeah. And then his mum was trying to generate a load of nonsense to get... what happened there? How did that pan out for you?
I'm not so sure that was the usual Sheffield Wednesday team at the Star that was putting that story out. I might be wrong.
Absolutely. Of course, we love the Star, Fudgy, old boy. We have had Mr. Dom.
Well, no, Dom's good fun because he didn't block me after putting that video on of him on transfer deadline day. Unlike Rob Statten that threw his toys out the pram and blocked me for... Actually, I've probably called him all sorts of names, to be fair.
And we have Dom's twin brother on the podcast as well in Mr. Marriott.
In Mr. Marriott, yeah, you know what I mean. It's a family connection. That's why he's not blocked me yet.
Never been seen in the same room together and all that.
Oh, can you stop trying to start wars with other organisations? We've built a lot of trust up over the years, and no, we haven't.
I know. We've been really nice to people. We've offered everybody on. Whereas Rob Statton and his thinning hairline decided he didn't want to listen to my nonsense anymore.
Rob Statton is a lovely, lovely chap. I'm going to defend him to the hilt.
No, Rob Statton needs to just move back a foot, just away from Carlos, when he stood there poking his phone in his face when he's trying to do a press conference. He may as well be clamped onto the side of him like a baby kangaroo searching for eucalyptus leaf, going, "Oh, yeah, here, Carlos, here, come here." And then at the end of it, being able to tweet, "Carlos tells me." Carlos didn't tell you, he told you in a room full of other bloody hacks. Bloody...
We have discovered Fudge's Blackburn.
Personally, I enjoy Mr. Satan's work, so please.
Well, I can't see it because he's blocked me, so sod him.
I'll read you something later, Fudge.
Ladies and gents, it has been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for joining. I apologise for the scantness of the show, but you can blame the international break for that. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you real soon. That's going to be spoiled by English now.
Harmonies and everything.
There's a chance here. A great save. A turner from the clear. Might come. A terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
I think we should finish that. After the soon, you should put Denis by Blondie on at the end.
Denise Frog. Belter.